AQUABIZ, all the best knowledge for aquatic system.
Okay, Sawadee Krap. Good morning, everybody. My name is Hsiang. I'm working in the U.S. Soybean Export Council for 22 years already, and very nice to be back to Thailand. I think my last trip before COVID-19 actually is also in Thailand, and 2 years after, this is the first time that back here with the mask, but still be able to keep the business running. So I'm very happy to be back here and today be able to share some of the aquaculture technology, the knowledge with you. But today my job here is introduce the USSEC. Okay, I can take it off. Oh, thank you, Thailand government, for this. Okay. So today my job actually is to introduce you the U.S. Soybean Export Council. It's my company, and also our very important portion is the U.S. Soy Sustainable Soy Assurance Protocol. It's one of the ingredients sustainable certification have been applied in the aquaculture feed industry. So today we'll go slow, but be able to give you some idea where we are and what we are doing. So, well, that's me. Actually, if you search Google my name, that pop out from the Facebook, I'm handling an alligator. That was in the U.S. back then when the fish disease courses that in the U.S. everyone assigned an alligator for you to dissect. Fortunately, I didn't get by on that, but I was starting working in U.S. Soy at year 2000, and there's some of the picture. Basically, it's for the fish brooder breeding and the hatchery work, and some of those is going to the offshore cage site. So this is roughly about my own, short introduction myself. That okay, so now, I see a lot of the old friends here, so I really not need to introduce what is U.S. Soybean Export Council again. But basically, I can tell you is we are the nonprofit organization. We are the nonprofit organization, but we do have a commercial purpose, and our commercial purpose is promoting the U.S. soy. We're promoting the U.S. soy in use in the different aspects. Like me, my profession is in aquaculture, so my job, simple way to say that would be try to find a way, be able to find a chance to making the fish feed is made by the U.S. soy. And we do have the other program taking care of the swine, the chicken production, and also the human utilization too. And formally, our name is the American Soybean Association International Marketing, and the organization actually is already 100 years old. If we count it starting from the establishment of the American Soybean Association, that is back to 1919 at the year we established the association. So it's about 100 years already. And we involved with really many different areas, 35 years of the technical service in aquaculture. Is so far, this is the kind of the history of the aquaculture program. And then we have the people around the world. So this is the timeline of the, is it possible to have dim the, or just keep it this way? Turn off the light in the front, yeah. So this is kind of like a timeline of the USSEC in the, so this is 1919 ASA started it, and then USSEC is here. We actually go through many different transformed organization, different name over the different time, and then USSEC is here 2006. So actually officially using this name from 2006 until now, but actually the organization is back to the long time. Yeah, so yeah, you can call us that 100 years organization already. Now, the focus we have actually, we're not interested in the how to plant the soybean. We basically is interested in how we're gonna use the soybean. So again, that like an aquaculture program, our main focus actually is on the feed. Is because there's where the soy meal going to this part and really create a demand. So in the aquaculture industry, there's so many sectors. From the hatchery, we got the brood stock, all the way to grow out and then harvest the fish, have the processing, go to the retail and then end user, the customer like us. But only in the grow out here, actually using a big portion of the feed. This is what our main focus. However, although this is the main focus, that I need to get a good brood stock, I need to get the good fingerling from the hatchery all the way, so I will have a good result in the grow out. So today, actually, our main topics is on here, is in the hatchery and the brood stock. But again, that our main purpose is to making the grow out better, so that we'll have the really generate the demand of the U.S. soy. Thank you, Gui. So that will looks more clear. All right, and our focus area, attempt, differentiate, elevate. Well, attempt basically is to try to find the access to the U.S. soy, which means that in the past, some country never buy the U.S. soy. So we find a way, we go into the country, we do a lot of the promotion activity. We even sometimes need to deal with the government officer in that country to be able to really knock up the door, open the door, and allow the U.S. soy import into their country. Some of the example, like Turkey, about last year, finally opened the country, allow U.S. soy to import it. We expecting India probably not long after probably will do. And later on I will explain on that one, because India is the very big soybean producer, but right now their soybean demand also is almost higher than their production now. Yeah. And differentiate, of course, that I put a picture here that you can see the color difference of the U.S. soy is lighter, and this is the Brazilian soy. So we try to tell you that why the soy is the soy meal to use in the feed, but why is the value is different. So that's where we try to do the differentiation between the U.S. soy from the other region of the soy. And it elevates, basically, is what my job is doing, is try to promote the U.S. soy and increase the demand. So actually the USSEC aquaculture program in South Asia, we have several key activities here. I just roughly go through it because I believe many of you actually have attended our activity before, that we have the feed specialist technical support. Right now we contract with Taya company to do this, and the International Aquaculture Feed Formulation Database, Lucas, one of my colleagues also is taking care of this program here. And recently it's very hot is the in-pond raceway system technology and other target system like the offshore. That's what I'm in charge for that. So for the IPRS, the in-pond raceway system, well, I put a QR code here. If you scan this QR code, it's automatically can download the technical manual. So if you want to just take a picture of the QR code and scan that, you'll be able to give you the whole book, the PDF. I think it's like 200 pages of the, technical manual. And then we do some feeding demonstration to show the performance of the U.S. soy performance. And as I mentioned, SSAP is the U.S. Soy Sustainability Assurance Protocol. This is what we recently pushing really hard. Oh, it's on. Okay, yeah. And this is the sustainable soybean ingredients. And mostly this is what it relates to the aquaculture. Usually is in the aquaculture, the sustainability certification. For example, later on I will introduce on this one, but you can see some of the aquaculture, certified aquaculture product. Actually, when they are doing the culture, when they are feeding the fish, they are required to need to using the sustainable ingredients in the feed. So this one, actually, we finally create and found that is very, very important, one of the key components in our program. And the other technical material, like the one that actually today we also have the progresses that we do contract to the other company that we consolidate a lot of the training material, put it together, and then put it into the company who organize those training for us. Because from USSEC ourselves, that we don't have that many people, what we really can do is that we have the technical training from time to time. However, they are very, very good material that people should be able to be aware of that. But if you just look at the PDF or the presentation, yeah, you can look at the slide, but you probably doesn't really able to understand what the presenter, what's the speaker really try to illustrate in that slide. So we do the presentation. We also do the video recording. This is really like a training, like a class training online. So that the Progress company right now is taking care of this part, and then be able to have the cooperate with USSEC. So no matter who are in the industry, and then you are interested in the certain aquaculture technology, that you will be able to go to the website that you can just Google the Agri School, and then you will find the impound raceway system, and also recently this will be on the online in July 4, the Marine Offshore Pens Aquaculture. So this is some of the external cooperation we do. So that is my rough introduction of the USSEC. So that I will continue to the presentation in the advantage of the U.S. soy. But today, I don't just talking about the U.S. soy. I give you a little bit rough idea about the soy in general around the world. So that is the nutrition profile. When there's a whole bean, that's 34% of the. When this is the whole bean, that's 34% of the protein. When the oil crushers, the oil crushers that take out the oil, that's where usually you see in the feed meal, the soybean meal, that the protein up to like 43 to 48, between that range. Depends on is the whole or not the whole soy meal. So this is the nutrition profile quickly from the U.S. soy. Then, why we are important, and every time we have been put into the media on some of the argument of the trading, because among a lot of the commodity grains, soybean had the highest protein, and protein is very expensive. The others that actually have a fairly low protein but pretty high starch. Look at the corn, almost a 65%. That's a starchy source, but not much protein there. Soybean is very high, so that is why that we have been brought to the international trading argument. We are usually you will see that on the on the TV news. Now, This is the map of the land, the most suitable for grow soybean. So here is the one that you need to pay attention to. When you're starting looking at the map, the green one is where it's good, very good. Dark green is the very good, and the green one is okay. And then you're starting seeing some of those no color, basically that's not really able to grow much. So of course the Sahara Desert, nothing else. China, half of the China is okay. Southeast Asia, actually all along the way here, well, you can produce the soybean, but the yield, the production from the same piece of the land is probably not better than US. One more thing to look at that India can produce, but they cover quite big range of the land because their soil, basically you can produce the soybeans, yeah, but the acreage of the production per unit actually cannot be that high. It mainly depends on the weather and the soil and also the infrastructure. So when you look at that Brazil, actually Brazil, the color is not very deep. However, Uruguay here, the color is deeper. So actually the very good quality beans in the South America, actually Brazil had a big volume. But the very, very high quality one actually is not from Brazil because their soil on the south here is red soil. That will making the color of the bean become very, very deep. And they do have produced some of the bean have the lighter color. Where is that? Amazon River, everyone, not a coffee shop, okay? Not a coffee shop in Thailand. It's the Amazon, really Amazon is somewhere here. That is the black soil. So that's where it comes out the lighter color of the soybean. So this, in general, get an idea for you to know that what is the kinds of the production and distribution of the. All right, so quickly, 2019-20 production ranking. Oh, Brazil, a lot, really a lot. Number 9, Ukraine, probably turned to 0 this year, maybe. And Russia, probably not. But you can look at that number 8 and number 9. They have a war, but their production actually is not pretty much on that range. But believe that those two this year will disappear. So someone gonna comes out to replace that. And China right now also crank it on, try to produce more. Because if they're not able to buy more from this, need to buy more from US. And the trade war doesn't make everybody happy at all. So that is the story at this moment for the war. All right, so remember, 1, 2, 3, 4. Brazil, US, Argentina, China. Number 5 is India. Yeah. All right, so, and soybean crop calendar, just give you the idea. Basically, hey, what is my animation? Okay. So you see, from is January to the, well, here's the December here, all right? So they're all year calendar. You see, basically, the world is divided by 2 portions. One is North Hemisphere and Southern Hemisphere. Planting in the different time, harvest at the different time. So we are getting into the summer. Right now in Brazil, it's starting getting to the winter. So their bean is all harvesting right now, go to the international market, what the U.S. soy farmer right now is planting right now, and the soy is growing. So give you the idea that basically the world is divided by really just like the north and the south. And so rotate the crop and supply to the world. And the top 5, Brazil, USA, Argentina, China, and India. 5 countries occupy 88.1% already. The rest of that, are they important? Well, during the trade war, they are important. If there's no trade war, they are not important, okay? So that is the reality that when you are really getting to the situation like China, actually even go to Russia, Ukraine, and the other country, Bolivia, to buy the soybean. Yeah, during the trade war, they suddenly become very important, the soybean source. But in general, who can supply that? Who can supply that? Are using this, the change in the soybean area. The red color means that the country reducing the agriculture land area. Less soybean have been produced. Where had the reddest color? China, Australia. And China, I believe a lot of that turned the land to be the commercial use or the residential use. Now the rest of the area still have a fairly green. So U.S. soy growing, Brazil growing, Argentina growing, Russia, probably not in this year. Ukraine, hopefully after the war, they can really recover, come to some point. But then it give you the idea who are increasing the production, but who are not able to increase the production. But this one really give you the idea that who are really the international market player. US, Brazil, and Argentina. And big portion of that, they all go to China. China is number 3 or number 4 producer. They are produce a lot, but they are not able to export. China, by far, right now, the self-sufficient somewhere between 20%. So what they produce in total and then try to provide to the China domestic market right now is about 20%. And the rest of the 80% is U.S. soy or the Brazilian soy right now. So this gives you the idea. The big producer is not the big supplier. The only country who are really able to step to the international market, U.S., Brazil, and Argentina. India used to export some of the meal and soy to the Southeast Asia, not anymore. Their reserve, their leftover reserve right now is less than 1 million tons already. So which means that in very few years that they will have the shortage of the soybean. They will become a soy buyer to the world, but not the supplier to the world. So this gives you some of the idea. Yeah, this graphic gives you the yellow one means the supply origin, and the red one means that the import destination. So you can look at that. Really, U.S. and Brazil is the biggest one. Argentina have some come here, but Argentina also come to the Southeast Asia a lot. India, you don't see any origin go to any other country. India right now is pretty much on the edge of what I produce is what I use. And my understanding, they do get some from like Pakistan or the nearby country. And government is pretty strict on the import the new species of India, we know. But again, that they are growing. So in any way, that's probably gonna, in the near future, you're gonna have that sea. They really need to open the country and let the soy from the other country to go in. So again, the big producer, not necessarily the big international supplier. China, 42% of the soy all produced here. This is a province called Heilongjiang. It's the one right next to Russia. 42% all here. And the downside, the good side is that this is all the black soil, very, very fertile, the black soil. The downside is that when you concentrate all the production in one area, something goes wrong, and then immediately you affect the whole nation's supply. So that's the situation of China. But if you look at all the coastal area here, don't think about it. Right now, the land of China along all of this, and also include the Hainan Island, is too expensive to produce like the soybean. You probably still can have some high value product, but not really able to do that. So this is the situation of China. Yeah, not really able to supply to any other country, but just keep it. US, actually, if you look at the green and the kinds of the light green all the way down here, this is Louisiana State. Yeah, this is Louisiana State. So this is the river of the Mississippi River. Okay, that's what we're familiar with, that Alabama is right beside here, like a knife, like a cooking knife. All right, so US, their production is more widely distributed to the big area. And that big area is follow the Mississippi River all the way from the north to the south. So U.S. soy, actually we do have the cold area and the temperate area. However, the diversity actually is not really that much because in general, North America in general, the whole area, the temperature is not that high compared to Brazil. Later on, I will show several figures of the Brazil. U.S. is not that high temperature, but the plant can grow until the point that when we need to harvest the bean, North America in this region, the air is dry enough that let the soybean on the field, it will naturally just dry. And that is the practice of the U.S. soy farmer. Brazil, I'm sorry, near the Amazon, too wet. So Brazil need to using the dryer to dry the soybean. That create a problem in homogenized drying, which means that some of the beans over dry, become cooking. And that's why the Brazilian soybean, by far, in general, if you look at a very big picture, the quality is very unstable. Sometimes you got the bean is overcooked, and sometimes you got a bean is undercooked. It's just because when they are drying the beans, try to prevent any bean mold. So they need to really further dry the moisture, even lower than 8%. However, some of those maybe maintain the 10%, and the lower end is about less than 8% of the moisture in the bean, and those beans become overcooked. So there's some of the natural problem. But U.S. here, even up to the Arkansas, and then Kansas, and then also all the way down to the Louisiana here, at the winter time, is fairly dry. So that the bean actually just left on the field, that let it dry, and then our farmer really need to take the bean every 3 days to see what is the weight of the moisture level of the beans. Because if they left the beans on the field and then the bean lost too much water, they lost money. Sell the water is the good business, right? Yeah, and so that is what the U.S. farmer practice. But in general, kinds of the maintain somewhere below 10 will be safe. Yeah. All right. So this is the situation, Brazil. Again, that the Amazon is in the north, so you don't see any plant in here. This is the Amazon rainforest, and in the south here have a lot of plant. But this is red soil in this area. And then more and more, you see more and more development in this kind of the dark green. This is just right on the edge of the Amazon rainforest here. And so here they can produce, but not as the soil is not as good as the on the top. So that's why that they try to cut the rainforest. This is the map from the, I get it from the internet. This is the map, but you're starting seeing, here have a lot of production, and then this is the Amazon rainforest. You see some of those are starting cutting the rainforest in this area, and that's where you see on TV, National Geographic Channel or Discovery, sometime to show you that have the farmer cutting the rainforest to plant the soybean. Yeah, this is starting from this age here, but this whole area is the rainforest. So this is a situation for the soybean. And the darker color, because the red soil in the south. Yeah, all right. And again, this is Amazon. So all the soybean they harvest here is very wet. You cannot just put on the field and let it dry. They have to go, those beans need to go send it to the dryer. And then try to dry every bean, have the same moisture, become very difficult job. You're gonna always get some variation. Send the ingredients into the dryer, so that end up some of the bean maybe up to still have a 10% or 12%, and some of bean is 8% or 6% of the moisture, become the variation. And if you dry the bean too much, they become cooking the beans. And then cooking the beans too much, what? Digestibility decrease. So that's where why the Brazil soybean right now, that actually the quality is very unstable. that recognized by the industry in general. One of the reasons, well, because geographically they are in the very wet area and they have to dry, and so they create such kind of the headache and pollen. All right, so I kind of summarized out the soybean from a different origin. But if you look at that, the use that directly to human, 20%, not much. 80% is for, about 80% is for the animal. And aquaculture, oh my goodness, 5.6 only. Please, please help us to increase the percentage here for sure. Human, South Asia, for the human consumption in South Asia, tofu is one thing. Another one is the tempeh from, especially in Indonesia, because the huge population, okay? And the others will be the feed. Industry use also is very, very low, but animal feed is really our biggest customer. Poultry occupy the biggest one, of course, that cover all country, including the Islamic country too, and the pig only in the Asia here have a lot. Aquaculture really is just kind of the starting with that. I believe that because this slide actually is up to 2019, I believe that this number should be somewhere about 8% now. Yeah, somewhere about 8% now. Yeah, so this is kind of to give you a rough idea that how the soybean being used worldwide. So back to where our profession, why the soybean sustainability is important. Well, that's why. Sustainable logo, although I'm not really indicated what, but like BAP, Global Gap, MMC, ASC, so many. When you go to the supermarket, open the like import seafood, even the Thailand, is they already have a lot of the certified seafood export to the other country. Yeah, but again, that because the sustainable seafood certification require sustainable feed ingredients. So that's where it comes from. Why is that? It's because fish meal. Fish meal, you catch the fish, make the fish meal, and make the feed, and then culture the fish. So from fish to fish, the environmental people doesn't like that, all right? So there comes out the rule, if you don't know the species, 100 kilo of the wild-caught fish can only produce 22 kilo of the fish meal and 8 kilo of the fish oil only. The rest of the fish is water, all disappears. So this is what the production. The environmental people doesn't like that, so it comes out this rule. It's too small, so I just make it BAP certification. Go for the soy input such that 50% come from the certified source by 2022, this year. It's June, so it just started on the, officially put it into the certification program now. And it requires certified source, and we are U.S. Soy is providing the certified source to the industry now. And we call it this U.S. Soybean Sustainable Assurance Protocol. And in the abbreviation, we call it the SSAP. And there's this just some of the rules that when the U.S. soy farmer, when they plant their soybean and then be able to certify that, they have so many things actually need to follow. So here is gonna be quite a lot of the, too much of the detail here, but I just briefly give you the idea. Why was that? Actually, U.S. soy farmer create the sustainable soy is not for the like aquaculture seafood certification, not like that. It's because in the past, we didn't really follow the law. So back to about 80 years ago, U.S. soy wasn't sustainable. In 1935, April 14, U.S. in the history had the record on the dust storm by the agriculture. But no one see this news anymore. Of course, right now you don't see that news anymore, but this has happened in the history before that, because back then when U.S. produced corn, soybean, or any other agricultural product, they need to plow, they need to till the land. However, usually from the winter to the spring, there's a wind starting to blow the ground, blow the soil, and when you just till, when you just plow the soil, it becomes very soft, and those kinds of the wind blow, making those dust that go to the air. And that happened on that day. So they call it the Black Sunday, and this is some of the historical picture, make it looks like this. This is the, at the time that the dust storm that, so U.S. does have that before. And U.S. government knows that, okay, we cannot continue doing that way. So that's why USDA and the Natural Resource Conservation Service that comes out of so many different type of the production, the Plant Production Act or the law you need to follow. And that's where in the soybean, I just summarized this, that kind of comes out the 11 aspects need to have the soybean farmer to follow to prevent those kinds of the dust storm happen again. All right, so that's where the sustainability, the certification comes from. At the very beginning, we not designed this for the animal production. It's just because even U.S. soy production itself that need to be improved. So improve along the way nowadays actually is much better. This is just so many law from the U.S. government. They pass all the different law to regulate the regulate how when you plant the soybean, what kinds of the law you need to follow. For example, if your farm have a river go through it, I remember it's the 30 meter this side and 30 meter another side, cannot plant anything because there's gonna have some wild animal need to live near the river. So along the river, both sides, 30 meter is not allowed to plant any corn, any soybean, nothing, so that the wild animal will be able to still stay in their wild habitat. Something like that. This kind of the law is, a lot of those is to address that, and also like how you use the water, how you're gonna harvest the crop in a certain time, and the weather need to be like such a condition so that you can do something like that. So for 40 years actually we do improve a lot the land use per tons of soybean produced, that we reduce the land use 35%, soil erosion 66% drop, and the using the combustion engine, the tractors that we went to U.S. see the John Deere, those type of the, right now the engine, the diesel engine will need to be certified to be the CO2 emission under the several conditions. So right now for the long time, it's really improved a lot along the way. And so that's where we continue improve the U.S. soy and continue maintain the U.S. soy sustainable assurance protocol. And if you're more interested in this, especially from the feed mill, if you're interested in this, that please contact us. That because actually when you buy the U.S. soy meal from the U.S., you actually can get a certificate, officially certificate on that. And you can also, if you are using the soy meal from those kinds of the certified the U.S. soy, I think it's right now it's more than 60% per year. In 1 year, if you use that more than 60% per year, that actually your feed, your product can be certified as the sustainable, feed by using the sustainable ingredients. And that is the BAP, the Aquaculture Alliance. Right now they put it in Seafood Alliance, sorry, they changed the name. Seafood Alliance, right now they changed the name. They already put that in their certification code. That, so in this year, half of the, if your feed try to be certified by the BAP, then half of your soy need to be from the certified soy source. And almost all the 95% of the U.S. soy actually is certified to be the sustainable source, so that it will be easier for you And when you buy that from U.S., actually you can ask the supplier the certificate that, and say this is the sustainable soy resources. So this is the idea I give you to you guys that to have the idea on what we are doing and why the sustainable soy is important. Thank you.